Welcome to this week's episode of The Sunny Views, which is on mental health. So I'm the host for today's episode, Emily, and I'm here with...
Ciara.
Paula.
I'm Brendan.
Okay, so I think I'm going to start today's podcast with a segment on bullying as, well, it's not this week, but when the podcast is out, it'll be Anti-Bullying Week. So happy Anti-Bullying Week, everybody. So first of all, I'm going to ask, what do you guys think, how would you define bullying? Like, how is it different from just like a disagreement or an argument between people?
I mean, bullying is more constant. So, there's a lot of depth to bullying, really. But I feel like, it depends on the person who's doing the bullying. It's the victim. Overall, bullying is really bad. It's pretty straightforward. But, bullying it's long term. And it can, on the topic of mental health, it can really affect how a person thinks, and it can really affect their day-to-day lives. Mm-hmm. So, for one person, going to school would just be normal routine, but for someone who's, bullied on a mental and physical level, having to show up to school in the morning can be something that's a struggle, Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with Brendan, everything he said. I also think, in addition to being constant, it's also intentional. Some people just, aren't friends, and that's just how it is. But bullying is, just intentionally, trying to hurt or exclude somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a disagreement or a conflict is a bit surface level. But, it is just torment, I would say. If you're being bullied, it also feels more one-sided because, of course, it can go both ways. You can bully each other, but on most cases, it is one suffering more than the other. So, yeah.
Okay, and why do you guys think people bully? Is there an underlying reason? Is it it could be their own insecurities? Do you think it's just purely because they don't like the person, so they just want to see them suffer? Or what do you think the main reason is?
I would say the main reason, there are a lot of different reasons, but a lot of bullies, they would say that they can have a sense of power and a sense of control over someone. They feel that they have the authority to do these things, even though they don't, but they want to have that. So, sometimes it's out of pleasure. They just do it because they want to. Sometimes there's something that that person did, so they decide to bully them, which is, of course, not the right thing to do. But some people think that way, and unfortunately, that's what happens. So,
I would say sometimes it's I think sometimes people think it's funny when it's just really not. I remember even it goes with teachers sometimes, when people are in class and it's a substitute teacher. I know for my old school it was crazy. They'd lock teachers in the cupboards, the cleaning cupboards, because I went to a pretty rough school before this one, and they would lock them in the disabled toilets, and when there was because they thought it was hilarious.
Gosh.
And it was not hilarious, but it was mainly the boys that would do it. So
yeah, that is true.
yes, but there we go. And then if you had to give advice to someone who was being bullied, if someone came to you and they were struggling, what would you tell them?
Depends on your environment, really, because you could just tell them, just speak about it to a teacher, but, it depends on the school you're in, really, because, there are some schools that will do something about it, but there are just some schools that won't. It also depends on the amount of people actually bullying, because if it's a full class, there's not much the teachers can really do about it other than telling them to stop. And even still, there's no guarantee they're going to stop. You can't expel full class of students because, they're making fun of one kid. Yeah.
So what's the solution for that if it's a lot of people?
It's a solution. I don't really think there is a set solution for
Just
that.
let them bully?
No, not let them, obviously. But, there are things you can do and things you can't do. You can, I don't know, there's not really, it's complicated.
Do you think Sunnyview deals with bullying well, or is there much at all in this school?
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay.
It just depends, really, because, there are groups that you fit into and there are groups that you don't. And the thing about Sunnyview is that you have all types.
Yeah.
So, people you get along with, people you don't. Either way, you're still around people that, in the long term, they respect you respect them, and they're your friends, really. Of course, you have different types of people, and you can fit in with different types of people. But at the end of the day, there's the people that really care about you and the people that you really care about.
Yeah, I feel like the best advice you can give someone, or, is to just be there for them. Of course, you can't do something yourself. You can't, bring down the sun and, kill, your bully or something. But, you can just be a support, I guess. Yeah. And that's the most important part. And to advise them to, if it's really serious, to contact a psychologist or contact anyone who they can trust. Because there have been cases where people don't trust psychologists, and of course then it would be more difficult to adjust to then maybe a new psychologist or something because they don't have that trust, but then the best option is to just maybe find a parent or a trusted adult who can help them, or just give them some sort of mental support.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes if the situation is complicated, or if Brendan said, if it's a whole class bullying someone, a lot of the time there's nothing you can do to actually stop it. You could maybe leave the school, but that's kind of a privileged position to be able to do that. Some people just can't, they can't move, or they can't just afford to go to another school. And sometimes you can't stop the bullying from happening. And I'm lucky enough to have never experienced bullying myself, so I can't give advice on a personal level, but I think there is always help available, and like Brendan said, there is always people that do care a lot about you, and there's always hope in the situation.
Do you guys recommend fighting your bullies? Physically fighting your bullies? Not with the exception if it's a whole class, because that but if it's you and another person, it's just you and another person, would you fight them? No.
No.
Yeah, sometimes violence isn't the answer.
No, violence isn't the answer. No.
Right, yeah.
I was going to say maybe it is.
I was about to say the same thing.
If you're bigger than them and you could actually beat them in a fight, honestly, why wouldn't you? But I would never be able to.
Yeah.
I'd break my thumb, but...
Thumb, but you fighting them like that?
But if you could...
Okay. There's that possibility. It's just depends on how much willpower the victim has on fighting them, because sometimes they think they're more powerful than me, I can't do that, they're going to beat me and they're going to do terrible things to me if I even punch them. So it's sometimes it's
but maybe you'll fight them and then you'll get kicked out of school and then you'll move school and then it's a win-win. But don't fight, guys. I don't recommend fighting.
Yeah, one thing about fighting though, yes, if you can physically overpower someone,
right,
then it would benefit you, because you're beating up your bully. You're essentially turning the tables. But the thing, it doesn't really get anyone anywhere, really. It could stop the bullying, but then you would be the bully.
Yeah.
You're not improving the situation. You're just passing it on to someone else. And, it would be a lot better to just have an adult conversation with that person.
Okay.
Obviously, it depends on the person you're talking to, because some people can just be so deluded and, struggling so much that they physically can't open their minds to a mature conversation. But, just the attempt of talking to someone and trying to figure out a problem can get so many places,
And now I'm going to move on to more of the mental health segment, so away from the bullying a bit, but it can still be included in a lot of your answers. How do you recognize, you personally recognize when you begin to feel stressed or overwhelmed with something? Is there things you notice about your character or physically that changes, or what happens?
For me personally, whenever I'm stressed or when I'm overwhelmed, I start to feel this sort of compression in my chest of my heart is getting smaller or something like that, or my lungs. It's hard to control that, but it happens. And I know that I've had experiences with anxiety. I've seen other people with anxiety, so it's pretty similar for a lot of people. They start to feel their mind is clouded and they can't really breathe. It's hard to breathe, so it's really important to be able to have that support for people with anxiety. And just to be able to calm down a bit, I guess.
Yeah, I'm similar. I literally, when I get really anxious about something, I feel it completely physically. Like, I get cold and hot at the same time, and it's really hard to get my thoughts straight. And it's like, it does literally feel like the world is ending.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, for me, yeah, I get a few, but for me, the effect of stress is more long term. So if I'm really stressed out, you know, that will affect my sleep schedule. You know, I will have trouble sleeping. And that in turn will affect how I wake up in the morning. And, you know, if I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling completely terrible, going to school, again, can be like a hard struggle. You know, that.
Yeah. Mine, I'd say, like, definitely I break out so much when I'm stressed. This is like more of like a, like, if it's like exam season, then like don't even look in my direction. It's not a pretty picture. But then also I think when I'm like, I kind of like isolate myself a bit. Like I'm just like, I just have to like be alone and try and get everything done. And then it's like, I won't talk to anyone, but then also like, I'll be very like short tempered. Like I'll just be mad. Like, especially not so much at school, but like with my family, I'll be like my brothers, I'll not tolerate, like I won't want to talk to them. I'll be like mean, and then I feel really bad because I'm taking it out on my little brothers, which they don't deserve. But
yeah, that happens sometimes. With people with anxiety, they start to project their, let's say, stress and overwhelm onto other people, and it's really bad for everyone around them and for themselves, and and then that sense of guilt comes in, and then it all goes downhill.
Just feel very bad about everything. And then do you think social media has an impact on your mental health, whether that be positive or negative?
Yeah, I mean, you know, social media is, you know, omnipresent. It's all around us. I mean, this is social media, what we're doing right here. It's a podcast. And, you know, you don't realize it, but, you know, it's a study of FOMO, fear of missing out. So, you know, like you see your friend is posting about a party that you weren't invited to. You will, because you can think a lot of things, especially if you're in a very anxious position, you will start to get a lot of these thoughts like, why wasn't I invited? Did I do something wrong? Do these people not like me? And, you know, in turn, that just makes your mental health worse. You know, I find that just shutting myself down completely from social media and just going on a walk, really, you know, it really clears my mind. You know, it makes me think more about, you know, everything else than, you know, just the small things. You know, like a party, really. You know, there's a lot more to life than a party, right?
Any positives?
About what? Sorry.
For social media?
Social media, you can talk to your friends, you know, contact is really important in every situation. I feel that the best way to engage in a problem is by talking about it. Communication is key, really.
Sometimes I do agree. Social media is draining, but I mean sometimes it is nice. Like you see a funny video, get a good laugh from it. I guess in that sense it's positive, but in all other ways it's really bad, and you start to compare yourself to other people. Especially in our age. I mean, it's really common. So
I think there's a lot of good that can be said about social media in terms of bringing awareness to issues, especially mental health issues. Like since social media like got more popular, there's been so much more mental health awareness, and it's become a lot more normal, and like you're able to talk about it now. And I think that's one good thing in terms of like raising awareness and reducing stigma. But I think social media can also be really bad for mental health because it's so hard to like control what's constantly being pumped out. And like one thing for me that affects my mental health the most is like my self-esteem, and with things like self-worth and body image, and like Paula said, comparing yourself to others, social media can be like really bad for it.
True.
I agree. And then I don't know if you guys get this, when I'm on my phone too much, I get like a headache. Like, and then I start to feel like really like weird. Like, I don't know, just like unproductive, demotivated, and that's like on my phone in general. And I feel like social media is bad because of all the reasons you guys stated, but then I feel like it can be good. So like I used to have like public accounts on everything, like I just accept everyone, like I had like really big kind of like like whatever. But now I keep my like social media smaller, and like I don't talk to that many people, like only my closest friends and stuff. So that helped a lot. But it's dangerous having access to everything too.
One more thing about going back to bullying, the thing about social media is that gives access to cyberbullying, which, you know, that's even worse because it's not just happening in school. Cyberbullying reaches to everything that goes on outside of school, and, you know, that makes it even worse.
I've seen that cyberbullying has been growing. I mean, nowadays, like, people hate on a lot of things. Like, someone lifts a finger and they're like, oh, look at how they lifted that finger. It's like, it's insane. And
like cancel culture too.
And you crazy. You get made fun of for like the most random thing, and then it follows you through like your whole career. Like Emily Mariko watery pumpkin pie.
Oh, I've never noticed that. And then everyone on social media is like, did you guys see like
oh my god, and all the like new insecurity it made.
Oh my god. Or like the, am I frog pretty or day pretty? Am I like a rat or a mouse? It's like, what do you mean?
It's insane.
And it's like stuff that like literally just doesn't exist.
Like only exists
like
online.
Now the obsession with like downturned eyes.
Yeah.
Like what
Cancel
is that?
tilt.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's like so many like made up things. Like I'd never even think of that if I didn't see it on my For You page. Okay, and then do you guys follow any like wellness accounts? Because obviously like you can take your social media into your own hands to an extent. Like you can choose what to follow. You can kind of build your own algorithm. So do you guys like do that? Or do you just kind of, whatever?
I mean, for me personally, I've seen so many accounts or like YouTube channels, whatever, that basically just profit off of like giving really vague and broad, being like, just be happy. And then they make like millions of dollars or whatever. It's like, come on. So for me personally, there's this YouTube channel I follow that's like, it gives more psychological information about different topics of psychology, and I feel like that's a lot better because it also gives advice on like mental health. So it's really great to incorporate, you know, information. It's informational and it also helps you yourself. So
depends on the intention. I feel like you can feel when it's like genuine or not. So and another thing is because a lot of the time, like people that struggle with mental illnesses don't know they have it, and it remains like undiagnosed for like such a long time, and then you're just stuck with the feeling like, is something wrong with me? And then you're like on online quizzes trying to like self-diagnose yourself. And then, so do you think that like mental health screenings should be done in school from like a young age? Like if like in year 7 you had like a screening, or do you think that's like inappropriate and like unnecessary?
I guess, I mean, if a child is not showing any symptoms of some sort of mental health disorder, then what's really the point? Because sometimes you can really see if something's wrong with the child. They start to isolate themselves. They start to feel really anxious. They start to feel, you know, like they're in an uncomfortable position. Then, of course, do that mental health screening. It's important, because then afterwards in adulthood and in teenage years, it's going to be much, much easier to like help them and give them the aid that they need. So,
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like instead of like screening from a really young age, just try and like open their awareness about certain issues or certain disorders, and then like obviously raising their awareness if they would have them. Also like open up or make it more easy for them to like get help or get a proper diagnosis instead of just like screening and then leaving it at that.
Yeah, right.
No, well, I don't have much to say about that, really. I mean, it's all awareness. You got to spread awareness about a lot of different problems. And, you know, mental health does connect to that. You know, you need to, because, you know, there's a lot of things you can say about mental health, but, you know, at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you're enjoying.
I think it should be taught from a young age, because like I know that like I learned about most like things from like TikTok, and then I'd be like, oh, that sounds like me, when it like it's really not. And I remember in lockdown, it was like I was like 12 and I was like learning about all this because I was on my like phone all day, and then I'd like go on the like tests and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm this, I'm that, but it's like, but like I didn't know anything else. Like it's just what I saw online, and because I'd like never really learnt it, like we were like, oh yeah, anxiety, depression is like this black and white. Like there's no like nothing.
Yeah. It's that, along with that, they're self-diagnosing. A lot of people nowadays, they're like, oh, someone has that symptom. I have that too, so I have anxiety now.
Do you?
So, yeah. And it's also like, sometimes when you feel like you have some sort of mental health problem, sometimes you would like look up on TikTok like people who have that mental health problem, and then they talk about like their experiences, and then sometimes they're like, okay, let's say they say something that's really extreme, right? And then you say, okay, well, I haven't had that extreme thing, so I don't have that mental health disorder. Yeah. But you may. That it doesn't mean like just because one person had a certain experience and you didn't have that doesn't mean that you don't have the mental health disorder, because it's, I mean, like you said, it's not black and white.
Yeah. It's like on TikTok, when, again, with the comparing thing, or on any social media, it's like two people will have the same thing, or someone will be talking about their experience, and everyone in the comments will be like, no, you don't, or no, you're not. And it's like, what? Yeah. It's crazy. Okay. And then would you say addiction can be considered a mental illness or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Addiction is 100% a mental illness.
Not a choice?
Well, there's things that you can do to combat addiction, but, addiction stems to a lot of different things. There's addictions that are, there's not really any addictions that are healthy, but there are some addictions that would benefit more than others, right? Because say you have like an addiction to, gambling. That's not good. That's not good for anyone.
No.
But, workaholics, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's really bad for your mental health to constantly put yourself under a work environment. But if you enjoy what you do, then that would benefit you in the way that you're more in a good mental state, constantly putting yourself in a work environment that you enjoy. That's why I feel like it's really important to do what you like.
Yeah. And with other things like drug abuse or alcohol abuse, I mean, in French, like if we're doing like, we have to do research on different things, and then one of the topics was about drug abuse and things. And then I saw this question on a forum that was like, why do drug addicts, why can't they stop with their addiction when they know it's bad and they know the negative consequences of it? And it's because, these chemicals that are being sent to your brain, then they slow down your brain, and like it breaks down all these chemicals and parts of your brain that make you think rationally. So, and that's why they can't stop. So, there are a lot of biological factors that they just can't stop, because their brain, it like blanks that out, that idea of stopping, so they can.
Stopping is easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like addiction is such a complicated thing. You have to, like, if you're talking about if it's a mental illness or not, you have to look at the root of it, like why did they turn to that thing in the first place? Especially if it's something really bad, like hard drugs, or even like alcohol, or even smoking, like and also like once you've looked at the root of where it came from, it's like you go on like a decline, and then you cannot get out of it, because you rely on it so much for your happiness, or just like the ability to cope.
Yeah. It's like also when, like, for example, I'm going to use my grandma as an example. She's been smoking cigarettes since she was like younger than me, like probably like 14 years old, like chain smoking continuously. If she stopped, I'd say it's probably more dangerous for her body than if she if she stopped, it'd be more dangerous than she kept going, because her body's like reliant on it now. And I think if she like tried to quit, she'd just like crash. Like, goodbye, grandma. Like, if she just stopped, because her body would probably like fail, because it's like it's like with sleeping pills. Like, if you take so many, then you like won't be able to fall asleep without them, because your brain is like used to the chemical like being, because obviously there's like chemicals in your brain. So And then another question is with the like criminal justice like system, do you think that like mental health is punished too much, and it should be like there should be a bigger focus on like rehabilitation centers, or do you think like just put them behind bars, like the criminals are criminal?
I mean, there are so many cases of people committing crimes because of their mental health, because they've gone insane, they have some sort of mental health disorder that caused them to do this. So it really depends on the crime and their reason for the crime, their motive. So if it's really because of their mental health, of course, send them to a rehabilitation center. Make sure that their mental health is solved, I guess, or like made better so it doesn't get worse. And yeah, because in a prison, if you look at a prison, it's dirty, it's really dark and really like depressing. Imagine putting someone with extreme mental health in that environment. They're gonna feel really overwhelmed. They're gonna feel like, I don't want to be here, and then it could happen that they kill themselves or something because they just can't bear that anymore. Yeah. So it's better to send them to a rehabilitation center.
And it could be more dangerous for the other prisoners in certain cases too. If you have someone with like a severe mental illness who's like very short-fused, then they could like hurt others. So that could be like a problem. But like a lot of things, just people don't really care. Like it's like you committed a crime, just as long as you're out of society, then who cares?
Yeah, the justice system is really rigged.
Needs some reviewing, I think. Okay, so now a more lighthearted question. If you could give yourself any emotional support animal, like any in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh gosh. It's really difficult.
Any size, from any like habitat around the world is at your disposal to choose.
Right. I think me personally, it could like maybe be like a rabbit or something. Okay. Something soft, something like that can keep me calm. Because every time I see a rabbit, I feel like I'm in a utopia. It's like not utopia. That's a bit extreme, but I just feel really calm, I guess. Okay. So maybe just something small, something to look at.
For me, it'd be a dog.
A dog.
100%. At my house, we have 5 stray dogs. In my family, we rescue stray dogs. And there's literally scientifically proven that petting a dog, it gives you dopamine.
Any kind of breed or any dog size?
I'm not sure. They're all great in their own way. If I had to stick to one, it'd probably be like an English Mastiff.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I mean, dogs are just great. I'm 100% a dog person.
Dogs. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say literally my dog, like in specific. But if I can like,
which one?
Dollar, my baby.
Oh.
But if I can be adventurous with it, any animal ever, it would be like, you see on TikTok, like zookeepers like with their like, they have to like sleep with baby lions for like 6 months. One of them, they look so cute.
I think I would want an elephant or an ostrich.
Oh.
Ostrich.
Because ostriches are so funny, and I think when I'd be having a bad day, I'd be like, oh, I need something to cheer me up, and then my ostrich would like make me laugh. And then elephant, because they're my favorite animal, and I just love them. Like they're so cute, and it would have to be like they'd be potty trained. Like I'm thinking hypothetically, it's the perfect elephant. And also I'd have like a garden for them, and they're like calm. And then maybe I can shrink them when I go into buildings or something. Like this is like a magical elephant apparently. Okay. And then I can take it anywhere, but definitely an elephant. And I could ride it too.
Oh, it's like...
So it's great. But like you can't ride a dog or a rabbit, so you can ride an elephant.
I don't need to ride an animal, I'm fine. It's just, yeah.
You don't want to ride?
No.
Okay, fine. Okay. And for last week, if you had to give yourself a grade for the amount of self-care you gave yourself, what would you give yourself?
Out of 10?
Out of A, B, C, D.
Oh, right. I don't know. Why are you looking at me?
I think an A.
A?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a very productive weekend.
Right. Are we including A stars or like just an A?
Just an A.
Just an A. I'd say B. B is like a nice middle ground.
It was alright.
Yeah. B's alright.
I'd say like C.
Oh, Ciara, why?
No, it was like chill. I just procrastinated a lot, and like I cried over like maths, like literally 3 times.
Oh.
Probably go like a D.
Oh no!
I mean, I had
just keeps getting
it was
worse.
it was a very unproductive weekend. I'd say I also had problems with procrastination. The most interesting thing that happened was a Halloween party on Friday, and that's pretty much it.
What were you dressed up as?
Tyler Durden from Fight Club.
Yeah.
I dressed up as him last year, actually. I dressed up as him last year.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
That's cool. Okay, and then another one is when you're feeling really like anxious or like just not like it's not everyone has their bad days, like it's just a bad day, but you like have to see people, you have to talk to people, you have to come into school. What's your favorite like fake it till you make it? So like look composed or like seem composed, but on the inside you're like going crazy?
Yeah, that just like to make sure I look like presentable. So that
I'd say
people
the
think
same.
I'm lively. Yeah.
Or like I have like an energy drink and it's like fake energy because actually I woke up late and I'm just sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up with your favorite self-care tip that you would give someone. Like, what do you do which like really works for you?
Sleep 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Sleep 8
Sleep's
hours.
really important.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it's like to be more grounded. Let's say when I'm like really in my head, I do like to go outside. Like you said before, it's really nice to go outside. And when I'm outside, I like to focus on like my 5 senses. So it's like, what do I see? What do I hear? What smell is it? Like where I'm walking, like what does the pavement like look like or something? So it's really nice to just be grounded and present in the moment. So, yeah.
I like to be with friends if I can, because it uplifts my mood and it makes me kind of forget whatever I'm stressed about or sad about. But like a lot of the time I can't see them, so then I'll take Brendan's 8 hours and I'll say sleep 16 hours and I'll literally just nap, and every time I wake up, like just to go back to sleep.
Oh,
until
but
it's
that's
over.
bad. You shouldn't oversleep. That's like worse than undersleeping. I don't recommend that.
I do.
Okay, mine is because when I have like so many things going on, it's just to write it all down, and that really like it feels like it's just been removed from my brain, and then I can see like exactly what I need to do. So I think anyone who's stressed should just like write it all down, and then I like to cross it off as I do them too. Like that really like, because then I like to see that it's being done. And then another thing is I clean. When I'm like, because I feel like I'm most anxious when my room's a mess. Like my room is definitely a reflection of my brain.
Yeah.
So once I've cleaned it, it's like it's peaceful. I'm at peace again. So yeah. So that's today's episode. Thank you for joining me, guys, on today's episode of Mental Health.
Thank you.